development political ideologies should not constrain political parties. Particularly African political parties are seen to be affected by the ideological lines they follow that in one way or another affect the development approach that they implement. And generally, when we consider political parties and their role in national development planning, the institution building aspect of the political parties is also very important. So institutions that are competent, neutral, and also in one way or another built in terms of human resource, clear vision, structures, and procedures, and technological support will have a good chance of transgressing electoral cycles and leadership horizons and be passed to the next generation without being seriously affected due to political crisis and electoral cycles. Generally, I say political parties in one way or another should be oriented towards the far future and go beyond the horizons of the narrow circles of their operation and think in terms of long vision, strategies, and also adding value to Africa and the global development initiatives. So we are going to talk about these issues in general, and I will be having the four speakers here who are renowned and highly experienced senior speakers. And I would have a very general question to all of them.
Mr. Chair, if I can quickly just interrupt by bringing you one more. I bring you one more panelist kindly that I skipped. Honorable Amadou Mam Diop is here. And Honorable Amadou Diop is the former president and speaker of the National Assembly of Senegal. He's also joining this panel. So now you have a full panel.
Okay, that's interesting.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, we'll be having the points from the three of them now. So I will have a very general question to all of you so that you can briefly reflect. Can we say political parties can be architects of national development and architects of African development? So how do you see that? How can political parties play their role of strategic visioning and strategic planning in such a way that their activities can be, a good sign of national development that adds value to the economic and social developments of their citizens that can span beyond their activities and add value to the African development activities? Would you say something on these points, please?
I speak here on behalf of a party, the All People's Congress Party, which is the current opposition party in Parliament, Sierra Leone. Let me start by conveying on behalf of our party deep condolences to the families of the helicopter crash victims and to the government and people of Ghana for this tragic loss. We share in your sorrows. Let me also say that political parties are vehicles for getting power. For us in Sierra Leone, it is clearly defined in our constitution that political parties are intended to shape the destiny of the country, to also ensure that they participate in elections, both national and local. So in the process, political parties have their own manifestos. They have their own philosophies expressed in those manifestos, their visions, etc. But it also comes to the point where development of the country, the sub-region, is mandatory. You don't narrow down your perception of what development is within the confines of your manifestos. The country needs development. Therefore, we believe that all the political parties should ensure that development takes precedent, national development takes precedent over the narrow manifestos they have presented to the people. In our own case, we all know the difficulties accessing our airport. We had a project, a plan that would have provided an easy access to the country. In the center of this country, there was a plan to establish a new airport. But the government that succeeded us changed the plan and decided that they would rather provide a bridge from the city to the airport. It failed woefully. So what we are saying is that in Parliament, maybe the best thing is for political parties to come together and establish a national plan that will be supported by Parliament so that any incoming government will be unable to make any changes that will affect the development of the country. When we came to power 10 years before this government, the current government, we ensured that all the ministers stayed in place for at least 3 months so that incoming ministers would learn from what they would need in their new offices. So there was a smooth transition. And in the process, we ended up in moving ahead and not looking backwards. Any development that took place after the Civil War was done through us. Then followed these 7 or 8 years, there has been very little development because changes were to be effected to ensure that what we had done will fall down. We are asking that the manifestos are important. They are mandates of the political parties. But the development of the nation should supersede any narrow development aspirations inside the manifestos of the various political parties. So to the best of our understanding of this topic, we believe that Africa needs political education. We need to educate ourselves to ensure that at the end of the day, we provide leadership in a fast-developing continent. We also believe that we have to build the political capacity of our young generation, the young people, so that they will participate in the development of policies. They should be part of the policy making and not just be implementers of these policies. We also believe that development does not necessarily mean moving in the direction that your party specifically intends you to, but that the development will affect not only your party, but the country as well as the sub-region and the continent as a whole. So on behalf of my party, we want to assure this conference that it is poised to move Africa to a plane where political parties will not be just observers after they would have won an election. This will be participant in the implementation of development plans they had crafted. Because leaderships of various political parties may not even be part of the implementation process. They are not ministers. The executive members of political parties are not ministers. Ministers are chosen by the government, by the head of state. And they have very little to offer to the party. The party believes in winning elections. They are not party to the implementation of the manifestos they have been able to prepare on behalf of their political parties.
Thank you so much. So I would now give the floor to Mr. Daudu to say a few words on this issue.
Distingués invités, chers participants, salam alaikum. Louange à Dieu, que la prière et la paix soient sur le prophète, sa famille et ses compagnons. En fait, je m'exprime au nom du parti Orange. Mais avant de répondre à votre question, je dois d'abord m'acquitter d'un devoir moral, me rejoindre à mes prédécesseurs pour présenter mes condoléances.
To present my condolences to the people in the government of Ghana, to the families of the victims of the tragedy that happened last week. I'd like to also thank the organizers of this summit. I thank them for inviting me to participate. You agree with me that before talking about policy and national development plan, political parties and national development planning, I must first talk about political parties in terms of planning itself. Political parties have always had the ambition, but usually they are not well governed. There is a constant tension between the need to meet the objectives of the people within the short mandates and then also meet long-term objectives. Usually efforts are focused on short-term activities to the detriment of medium and long-term ones. And if political parties want to conveniently prepare themselves for the future, they need to invest in their internal structure. Their structures and their processes need to reflect the political landscape, which is constantly changing. This means there is a need for an assessment of the environment, political environment, in order to adapt to the changes. Political parties need not present themselves as parties without vision. Political parties need to adapt themselves and transform themselves in order to meet the needs of their citizens. Otherwise, they will be ousted, or they risk being ousted. They also need to take into account social media and other technologies that help the citizens to express themselves. These tools are very important, yet they can also pose problems to political parties if they do not adapt. This is why there's a call for political parties to quickly adapt to new ways of working, the use of a roadmap and a step-by-step methodology is an approach that will help political parties to build their organizational capacities and adapt their decision-making in order to gain the trust of citizens and improve their own image. They need not to be seen only as an electoral machine, but also an instrument of good governance. The process of planning needs to be carried out very well. There's a need for strategic planning where political parties define short-term, medium-term, and long-term activities that are attainable. There's a need to define national development initiatives on the basis of in a participatory way. This is how political parties can integrate in their vision national development planning and also development faced with new trends. Thank you.
Good remarks you made. And may I now give the floor to Mr. David Ofusu.
Thank you very much. I represent the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Nigeria, Professor Entawe Iwada. He is the leader and the chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Nigeria, a party that came into power in 2015. And the belief of the All Progressives Congress is that party politics cannot be separated from national development and prosperity. Party politics is rather a group of persons who are supposed to be service agents, and have had their solutions on how to make sure that these services are rendered unto the people. And they now, because they are people with identical formula on how to solve the national problems, they form themselves into a party, and they give the solutions they call a manifesto or their ideology on how to solve these issues, on how to solve the national challenges and problems, and that way they will be differently identified. As you have parties, different parties. In Nigeria, we have the People's Democratic Party, we have the All Progressives Congress, we have the National Development Party, we have all these parties. And how the electorate identify them is by their manifesto, the promises they made on how to solve the challenges and problems of the country. And once the electorate look at their manifesto, they will be able to say, okay, these are the ways they are going to solve our challenges. These are the ways, and that gives them opportunity on how to select the party they want to be in governance so that they can know how to solve those problems. Though, apart from these manifestos and ideologies, we found out before APC came into governance in 2015, there was political fluidity in Nigeria. All parties there was no ideology, there was no manifesto. Because everybody, whether you are in party A or B or C, you can move from one party to the other in the night and contest the election the next morning without even being identified into any political ideology or manifesto. And this is what APC, when they came in, they said, no, they want to distinguish themselves from this. We want to be known with manifesto. We want to be known with our ideology. We want people to know what we have come to do in governance, so that at the end of the day, people will be able to highlight the achievements of the APC or our party. And when we came into power in 2015, the APC introduced what we called the Progressives Institute, because they knew that the problem of governance was nobody was educated about the issue of governance. Somebody will move from PDP to APC and contest the election. He doesn't have nothing concerning him with the manifesto of APC. So the Progressive Institute was introduced so that leaders will be able to be educated on the manifestos of the party. Leaders will be able to go through what it takes to be a leader and the do's and don'ts. They will know how to how to cross the T's and dot the I's in leadership. That's why that was the essence of the Leadership Institute, the Progressive Institute that was introduced. And this Progressive Institute will take leaders, those who are supposed to contest elections, are supposed to go to spend some time with them in learning the art of leadership, in service delivery, which is uppermost in the issue of leadership. Service delivery. People who want to lead are supposed to be service delivery agents. And this is what they are taught in the Progressive Institute. Again, political parties are supposed to be like a family, people that understand themselves. And you are supposed to know members of your family. You're supposed to know the professions, the different professions, the needs of the professionals, the needs of the youths, the needs of the women, the needs of all the categories that make up the political party. And to make sure that this is enhanced, we introduced what we call the e-registration. The e-registration exercise is the electronic registration exercise. It is an electronic system of registering people where the biometric of every member of the party is contained, so that each time you want to get in touch, you want to convene a meeting, you will simply go to your tablet, your phone, or your laptop and put in the keywords, and all the members, their profession, their location, and every information you would need about them will appear. It helps you to run the party as a family, especially members of a ward, members of a unit, members of a local government. With one hand, you can look at them and see. When you want to convene meeting, simple, go put in the listing and put the invitation so everybody will come. And it makes the political party, we are trying to see that the political party is run like a family, so that everybody will be involved in the process of governance. You know, people who are in leadership are supposed to attend meetings once they are called meeting, whether you are a minister, whether you are a president, whatever office you occupy, once there's a meeting you attend where people will sit down as a family and talk to you. If there are areas they feel you are not getting it right, because you are representing the interest of the party, people will talk to you. These areas, we don't understand it. These areas, we don't understand it. And that was the essence of the e-registration, so that everybody will have opportunity to indirectly contribute to the governance of governance of the country and their affairs. Apart from that, the APC, to make sure that people are very involved in the governance and the prosperity of the country, during elections, women are given free forms. They give women free forms so that they can participate. Not only they give them free form to participate, they also escalated a bill to the National Assembly. The bill is to make sure that women have what we call free seats. Considering the cultural limitations that our women experience in Africa, they can never contest or compete favorably with men. So the APC said the easiest way to make sure, but the largest population of our country, that is the women who are denied participation in governance, the only way to make some to participate was to make sure that we give women free seats, some number of seats that are free for women alone in the government, so that in the National Assembly, that free seat will give the women opportunity to bring in their persons, the people they feel that can represent them in the National Assembly, so that they have say in the discussion of the affairs of the country. You know? So apart from giving them the free forms to come and contest elections, and contest free nomination forms to contest elections, we also escalated a bill to the National Assembly for women to have free seats, both in government and the national legislature. Then on the issue of youth, we are very, 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 very aware that the youths because of limitations of the finances, we cut down the cost of nomination forms for the youths to 50%. If the privileged people are paying 100% for a form, the youths pay, they cut their own down to 50%. This is to allow youths purchase forms and compete favorably. Apart from giving them 50% slash, the party also encourages them in making sure that some funds are made available. The funds are made available for them to contest favorably in the election. And the president, to also encourage our president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our present president, who is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, also provided what we call the free students loan. This student loan will make indigent people who cannot pay their fees to be able to go to school at all levels. And at the end of their schooling, they can start liquidating these loans so that it will not be lack of funds that deny you education. In that context, in that way, people will be able to have education to participate in the government of their country. So our party, the All Progressives Congress, makes sure, because the major thing that guarantees participation of people in the government of their country is once they are educated, they have knowledge of what is happening. And we are aware of this, and we are going all the lengths to make sure that all spectrum of the society, including the indigent people, the indigent people are also involved. Time will not permit me, because I've been warned of time repeatedly, but I can tell you the All Progressives Congress in Nigeria is running a very full cadre program to make sure that everybody is incorporated and part of the process of governance, so there will be prosperity in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Would you please pass to our other speaker to reflect on the topic? Yeah, generic words.
Merci, M. Bikela. Merci, mes co-débatteurs. Permettez-moi d'abord de marquer notre solidarité et présenter nos condoléances au peuple ghanéen et aux autorités de ce pays.
I'm representing the APR, Alliance pour la République, party of the President Macky Sall, been in power since 2012 to 2024. When you are elected, then you need to respond to the needs of the people. And in order to attain this objective, we need to do a certain number of things. First of all, we need to move from partisan affairs. We need to recognize the achievements of the previous government, install a peaceful environment in order to be able to work effectively. And after, when a political party obtains power, they need to start with strategic planning, which is very important and which transcends the years, which transcends political parties and regimes. And then from there on, we can start doing productive investments and also investing in human capital. What we did when we came into power, we are a liberal party, but we governed different parties, socialists from the left, communists, and others. We worked with all these structures from 2012 to 2024. We worked together with these blocks. And then when COVID hit, we consulted, we convened dialogues, and we discussed with all these political parties. And this was done in order to better respond to the needs of our populations. We also implemented a plan which we call the Senegal Emergent Plan, the Senegal Emergent Plan. You know, before COVID, we had attained a growth of more than 6%, and this plan helped us to modernize our infrastructure. Dakar changed, Senegal changed. We had highways constructed, several infrastructural projects were undertaken. We increased access to water and promoted agriculture. And this led to food self-sufficiency. There was a need for stability, and we're able to ensure this thanks to the vision of the President Macky Sall. We also associated, sometimes the plan is not a particular political party's plan. It is a plan that was developed by the administration. And so I believe what is the most important thing is the medium and long-term plans. We had a plan for 2035 rather. And so the most important thing is to recognize the elements of this plan or these plans that exist. If there is a need for changes, these changes need to be made. For example, in our country and in many other African countries, after new regimes gain power, they ignore previous plans. And today all our indicators are in the red line. And we are in a difficult economic situation because we usually tend to ignore the achievements or the works of our predecessors. I think that we need to build on the achievements of our predecessors in order to attain or meet the needs of the people in order to ensure full development. Thank you, and I would like to give you back the floor.
So I will now get back to His Excellency Al-Haji. So when you develop your manifestos, how can you, embed the issues of vision, national development, and agenda, AU Agenda 2063 into your manifestos so that your manifestos can, pass generations and add value to the developmental initiatives you plan into your government?
Just like I said, development has to be cross-party in nature because we all have the interests of the nation at heart. We may have ideological differences, but the national interest is of primordial importance. That is why I would suggest that the political parties come together. And one area they meet is Parliament, so that national development plans are enacted into law, so that an incoming government will not, using its own discretion, squash a project that will develop the country. Like I said, we were planning to build an airport in the center of our city, of our country. because accessing the present airport is a difficulty because we don't have the bridge as an option. But the government, in its own wisdom, when they came, they removed everything. What I think we did when we came to power, what I think they should have done is to follow our own footsteps. We made several bridges that were initiated by them. We constructed roads that were initiated by the previous government. And in the process, development did take place. So these plans are not to be one-sided. It has to be made by the political parties in power and those in opposition. This will create an enabling atmosphere for continuity and development.
Thank you so much. Now, let me get back to His Excellency Daoudou. Do ideologies, political ideologies, shape the developmental approach that a political party would follow? So how can ideologies shape development lines and development approach? Can you say something on this issue?
Je pense que pour que les idéologies politiques doivent d'abord, dans un pays, les partis politiques doivent dépasser les clivages idéologiques dans un premier temps pour pouvoir répondre aux aspirations de la population. Ça, c'est une chose. Ça a été dit ce matin que j'ai même pris l'exemple de l'Éthiopie, qu'ils ont intégré certains membres de l'opposition dans le gouvernement. Ça implique le dépassement des clivages politiques. Ensemble, parce que chaque parti politique œuvre pour le bien-être du pays et de la population. Tous les partis politiques. Et aujourd'hui, pour mettre une approche par rapport au plan de développement, il faut que tous les acteurs soient impliqués. Les partis politiques, les secteurs privés, la société civile, tous les acteurs. Ensemble, ils vont former cette vision pour pouvoir, parce que les partis politiques...
Political parties, usually when they are in opposition, they are no longer considered actors of the development process. It is only the party in power that leads government actions, but they also need to take into account the thoughts and opinions of their populations and civil societies and civil society. But usually what we see is that parties in power do not take into account the concerns of the population nor of the opposition. And so we need to take this into account. Thank you. Thank you. I think we need training within the political parties. Add value to skills in order to promote the political institution. This is very important because there are so many people who enter politics thinking that, usually in our African countries, politics is seen as what it is. It's not. So we need to ensure training in order to improve on the skills of the people who are part of our political parties.